For now, we have Professor Dr. Julia von Blumenthal joining us. And I'm really, really happy that you are. Thank you very much for taking the time. I would like to start with the basic question that we always ask. How are you coping in this situation? How are you doing?
Oh, changing from one video conference system to the next over the whole day. I must say, using other systems doesn't help against Zoom fatigue.
I'm afraid you're right.
Apart from that, I change between my home in Berlin, where I'm at the moment, and the city of Frankfurt Oder, which I chose as a background to give you an impression what it means to live close to the border. Because this picture was taken from the Polish side of the Oder. So this is a view we don't have at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell us maybe a little bit about how the city of Frankfurt Oder feels? Like you don't have this perspective anymore, but how does the city feel when you're moving inside of it? Do you feel that the border is closed? What happens?
It really feels like being cut in half because we were used to call it the twin city of Frankfurt Oder and Słubice. So the cities came closer ever more in the last couple of years, and we didn't really think about the bridge as a real border. Of course, we are aware that there's Poland and the Polish government and Polish politics, and we have Germany, German government and German politics. But for us in the region, in this very local context, it didn't feel like a border. And now we have this situation where I have half of the staff of my IT department living in Słubice, which meant that over the last couple of weeks, they couldn't come to work. So we were completely dependent on the digital techniques so that they could work from home. So that other than people like working in hospitals didn't have to choose between their family in Poland and their work in Germany. So this is really a complete change of life for us.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell us a little bit about your own experience of Frankfurt Oder? A little bird told me that you tend to run close to the border, like just go for a jog. What's your personal impression? What's maybe different in how the city feels and the people are behaving?
I would say that there are probably two groups in both cities. The ones are like me. I mean, I miss the close contact to Poland. I miss going over the bridge, meeting my Polish or my German colleagues who live in Słubice. And I miss running over the bridge early in the morning and seeing Frankfurt from the other side of the Oder.
From this place.
But of course, there are also the other people who have been around for all the time who think that we should live with borders, which is a position, I mean, I cannot understand, but of course it's there and it's very visible at the moment.
Mm-hmm. I know that the University of Viadrina, of which you're the president of, has students from over 100 countries, meaning it's not only very European, it's also really international. Maybe can you tell us a little bit about how you build bridges in this situation where everything is more and more digital between all those nationalities and cultural sides?
Of course, we are very happy that we have the digital technology so that we can build bridges even though we cannot travel. And being such an international university also meant that for us, the Corona crisis started early this year when we thought about our Chinese partner university and the exchange students who were supposed to come from there to us in April. So for us, this global connection that we are all live in one world was a reality or is a reality. And we try to keep really a personal contact to our students abroad. Some of our German students are still abroad and they decided to stay where they are. And we have other international students who wanted to come back to Frankfurt for the summer term and now had to stay at home. And our international office tries to stay in touch, to organize some video conference events, like in the evening, and of course tries to contact them to help with all the personal problems they have at the moment, which is of course money, which is not having the opportunity to come back, and all these problems we try to solve. Of course we cannot solve them all, but we try to support them as good as possible.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel that the students are or maybe also organizing themselves to be still close to each other despite the physical distance?
Yeah, I think so. Especially our ASTA, our student representative body, they are very active, and they also in this online introductory week we had, they also had this part of student activities and student engagement, and they try to convey this message that you can be active even though you cannot be in Frankfurt Oder.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. I remember my own orientation week, and I don't think it would have worked digitally. I have one last question for you, and then we'll go back. But I know that you've just recently started a joint academic venture, which is called the European New School of Digital Studies, and I wanted to ask you why. What's the purpose of this academic venture? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Our basic idea is all our societies are in one way or the other digitized or even digitalized. And our idea was that we need a reflection on what that does to our societies, to politics, and also to the labor market. And I think the Corona crisis now is exactly the right point of time to start such a school, because I mean, at the moment we are embracing all these digital technologies. We are completely dependent. At the same time, we know the dark sides. We know the market structure of these digital technologies. We know all the issues of data protection. And we also see what it does to us living online all the time, rather than meeting in person. I had 2 or 3 meetings in person over the last week, and it was really a complete different life. It was like returning back to a normal life, even though these meetings were not with my friends. It was with colleagues and official meetings. So it was just being in the same place with a person and being able to talk to a really person you can see. So this reflection on what the digitalization does to us is, I think, even more important now with the Corona crisis. And this is what the school is supposed to do. It's supposed to train students who want to be the builders, who want to engage in this transformation of Europe into a digital society, and also who want to reflect on it. And it's also about research, about reflecting on the effects digitization has on European societies.
Okay, I can't stop here actually. One last question, really. You said it has effects on us personally and it has effects on the European societies. Can you elaborate on that? What is the effect that you observe maybe also scientifically, both on the individuals and on European societies? And what can we do? Because it's really a challenge. So what can the European Union, what can the European project do to face those challenges? That's a big question.
I would like to, I mean, you asked me 2 questions, so I start with the personal one. I think the personal one is, when I in these meetings, I see that meetings and video conferences are often very effective. Mm-hmm. So you come to a decision, to a conclusion rather quickly, because everyone basically wants to leave this meeting. But on the other hand, I'm not sure whether to really exchange the arguments in a necessary depth. So I think we lose something. I think we lose really the exchange of arguments, of feelings. And when I look on Europe, I think on the one hand, at the moment we see a closer exchange between the European governments with this regular video conference. But on the other hand, we really saw how the first intuitive reaction of all governments, and I can't exclude the German government, was national. So it was, how do I protect my population from what is going on? And no one thought in a European way from the very beginning. And I think this tells us something about how important it is that we really work on the European Union, on the foundations of the European Union to in a way change the mindset that it's not national, exclusively national from the very beginning, but maybe European and national, the first reaction to a crisis.
I will take those as last words. I think they're very inspirational. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor Dr. Julia von Blumenthal. It was a real pleasure. And